Hi, Scott Bond here. In this very brief description of inerrancy, we are simply going to talk about what it is and not go into the arguments for or against inerrancy or the fine gradations of what it actually may mean. Just a simple definition for us to get us started, and we'll go into greater detail on later videos. So let's start with a definition. Most definitions of inerrancy are written in a very similar manner. But I like the one from the Evangelical Dictionary of Theology, and it says this: inerrancy is the view that when all the facts become known, they will demonstrate that the Bible in its original autographs, and that means the first versions of the books, the original Matthew, the original Mark, the original Genesis, and correctly interpreted, is entirely true and never false in all it affirms, whether that relates to doctrine or ethics or to the social, physical, or life sciences. That's pretty all-encompassing, isn't it? But here's the rub. Even though we can believe that the scriptures are inerrant, we cannot prove definitively they are inerrant yet, because human knowledge is limited and prone to misinterpret data or come to wrong conclusions about what Scripture means. Ultimately, we just don't know everything yet. If you think about something like a heart attack, when the Atkins diet first came out, people were saying you were going to give yourself a heart attack because of all that meat you were eating. And of course, I believe that the founder's name was Dr. Barry Sears, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But he died of a heart attack, and everybody that was against his diet had a big hoopla about, see, we told you this young, supposedly healthy guy died of a heart attack from eating all that meat. But what they found out was the type of heart attack he had was actually caused by a virus that inflamed the main valve in his heart. And that wasn't something that we really knew commonly at that point. Another example would be cancer. 20 years ago, the concept that a virus could cause cancer was pretty foreign. That was mostly the purview of conspiracy theorists and general nut jobs. And then we find out not that long ago that the human papillomavirus has a causative effect on the development of cervical cancer. And so we find that even though we know things, we may know a lot, there's just so much that we don't know. And another example, a final example, would be archaeologically. You know, the Hittite Empire is mentioned a lot in the Old Testament. The Hittites were mentioned a lot. And it's fascinating that the Hittite Empire was actually used as one of the arguments against Scripture for several hundred years, because there was no archaeological evidence of them until the early 20th century, when that was found to be incorrect, and there was actually quite a lot of evidence discovered demonstrating the veracity of the Scripture's claim to have had interaction with these people called the Hittites. But prior to that, people would have said, look, the Bible does have errors in it, because the Hittites, the Bible claims existed and they never existed. Obviously they were wrong. So as time goes by, we will learn more and discover more. And our conviction is, especially for evangelical Christians, our conviction is that you are going to discover, or the mankind is going to discover again and again, those things which serve to support the inerrancy of Scripture and not detract from it. And we believe that ultimately, at the end of days, at the end of time, at the end of all things, that we will come to a definitive understanding that the Scripture in every possible way was inerrant. It'll be totally provable in the end. So let's go over that definition one more time. Inerrancy is the view that when all of the facts become known, they will demonstrate that the Bible in its original autographs and correctly interpreted, that means using good hermeneutics, is entirely true and never false in all that it affirms, whether that relates to doctrine or ethics or to the social, physical, or life sciences. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. Again, just a basic introduction to the concept of inerrancy, basically a definition, a long definition. And we will get into greater detail on this on later videos. God bless you.